The Rams made some splash moves in the offseason, trading for Trent McDuffie and Myles Garrett. They look to be the favorites to win the NFC West. But the 49ers are healthy. If they can get away from the power plant, and you can never count out the defending champion Seattle Seahawks. But first, we'll start with the Arizona Cardinals. And do they have any fans? Well, maybe. But this offseason left a lot of people scratching their heads.
I have a bad feeling about this.
But what did they do in 2025 to get to this point? 29th in points allowed, and it was a lot to ask Calais Campbell at age 39 to save your defense. Josh Sweat left the Eagles for a nice little payday, but it seems like the relationship has already soured, because he led the team with 12.5 sacks and 4 forced fumbles. He was perhaps their only competent defender.
Is he though?
No. Calais Campbell did add 6.5 sacks. Denzel Burke had 3 picks, although he did allow an 81 passer rating again. I think these guys had some solid pieces. Then why, on God's green earth, did the Cardinals play so poorly? Well, I'll tell y'all. Offensively, this team was a total disaster, like a blown septic tank that shoots up into the RV kind of disaster. Whether it was the combined play of Kyler Murray and Jacoby Brissett, or the running back room losing James Conner in week 3, you knew it was going to be an uphill battle for a team that ranked 23rd in points scored with just 20 points per game. And to be honest, any goodwill they got, like Brissett getting the record for most completions in a game with 47, were negated by something negative like a loss. Like the time you guys had the Titans on death's door and he managed to choke the game away. But Gannon loses his job. Murray goes to Minnesota. The Cardinals signed Tyler Algier, then draft Jeremiah Love. This team made one good move, followed by head scratchers, like signing Isaac Seumalo. Hope I said that right. I think it's a great pickup. But then you load up your running back room when other pieces were on the draft board. Now Mike LaFleur is going to have his work cut out for him, and I don't see them getting more than 5 wins this season. And their floor, maybe 2 wins. They're just a black hole of an organization for the time being. Now, if the Cardinals were the poster child of gross incompetence, then the 49ers were what you would call a good team who overcame the power station. Yes, they were practicing next to a power plant or whatever the heck it was. But over the season, they lost Brock Purdy, George Kittle, Nick Bosa, amongst others, for an extended period of time. Despite all this, though, Robert Saleh managed to get a top 15 defense out of this team. A big part of why they have been dubbed the Necromancers. Not only that, but Mac Jones had the game of his life against the 49ers. 33 completions with 342 yards and 3 touchdowns. He was hit. He was battered. They carried him home one last time. McCaffrey was the MVP of this team, finishing with 17 touchdowns and 2,000 all-purpose yards. And honestly, I have to give credit to Kyle Shanahan because I blasted him last season. He kept this team together, winning 12 games, beating the defending champion Philadelphia Eagles in wildcard round. But the train would stop when they ran into Seattle in the divisional round. And I don't even know if they were healthy that they can beat that team. More on them later. Where they failed was in sacks, with only 27. Obviously, they lost a lot of players. They lost Saleh to the Titans, signed veteran receiver Mike Evans to give Purdy some sure hands. Dre Greenlaw returns after a 1-year stint in Denver, and they traded for Cowboys defensive tackle Osa Odighizuwa. Hopefully I said that right, I don't even know. Who finished with 3 sacks and was 6th in pressures with 52. They went after key positions in the draft, but still they have Brandon Ayuk, who's sucking them like a vampire for all their money that they've given him.
I am a vampire.
I like what this team did in the offseason. I like that they will be healthy. But please get away from that power station. But if everything goes well for them, I could see them winning 13 games. If they continue with the injuries at key positions, I say they bottom out at 6 wins like they did 2 years. A high ceiling with a low floor, in my opinion. And it's not their fault. It's just where they practice. Now, if you want a team that made the biggest splash in the NFL, it's the Los Angeles Rams, who traded for Myles Garrett and have made themselves an absolute juggernaut. If everyone stays healthy, because remember, last offseason, Stafford was dealing with back issues, and then he went out and had a 40-plus touchdown season and finished with an MVP trophy. This offense could beat you sideways, backways, frontways. Oh, I went the other way. Whatever. They scored 30.5 points. Nobody could stop this team. And that's with Puka Nacua going off the rails during the season. Devontae Adams, though, was a sure thing with 14 touchdowns. That's almost Randy Moss rookie numbers. That's a whole lot of scoring there. Puka had 1,800 yards, but you'd think with a passing attack like that, the running game might have suffered. But no. That was kind of their secret weapon. They had the 7th ranked offense led by Kieran Williams, 1,200 yards, and Blake Corum, 700. This was basically a complete team. Even defensively, they were great. I mean, top 10 in most defensive categories, scoring defense, sacks, you name it, they were good. But they felt the need to get better in the offseason. They traded for Trent McDuffie. They traded for Myles Garrett. And McDuffie's going to make that secondary better. Because when the pass rush didn't get to the QB, they got torched for big plays. But that's not what killed their season. It was special teams. And yes, fans, there are 3 facets of a game out there. And this one hurt big. Kind of like the 2009 or 2010 Chargers. The block kicks against Philly, the big returns against them, the muffed Xavier Smith punt in the NFC Championship, or the costly penalties on kick returns, and vice versa. It was so bad that Coach Blackburn was replaced mid-season by Bubba Ventroni. You know it's bad when a guy named Cardi is replaced by a guy named Mevis to score. And yeah, fire, score.
And look at this guy. He's old, but he's probably scored 1,000,000 times.
And that's what he did. He scored a lot of points. They went home, though, in the NFC Championship game. If they had won that, they'd probably be Super Bowl champs, and we'd be having a different conversation. But here we are, 2026. They used their first pick on Ty Simpson, and that was a surprising move, as you can see from Sean McVay's reaction. But despite the 13th hardest schedule, that includes the NFC West gauntlet, and the North, and Philly, I can see them winning the division with 14 wins if they just hit on all cylinders. And for a floor, I really don't see them going less than 10 games. But that's just me. But finally, your reigning, defending Super Bowl champions of the world, Seattle Seahawks. Ooh, where do I start? Their defense was improved, but I didn't think they would get that much better. First in points allowed with 17, top 10 in interceptions, first in DVOA for whatever that's worth, 47 sacks. You name it, they were elite. So I apologize to you, Seattle, for ranking them lower last season. On offense, though, did anyone expect Sam Darnold to be that guy? Sure, he was aided by a great run game, and sure, he saw his share of ghosts, but god dang, he was awesome. 4,084 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. Is this the 2000s? Because those would be elite numbers back then. Now, JSN was on a tear with nearly 1,900 all-purpose yards, 10 touchdowns. He might be the best receiver in the league. And I could probably gush over the guy all day. But then I'd be Chris Collinsworth, and then now here's the guy that's going to go on and on about JSN. But their passing game was so good. But honestly, Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet were the engine. Charbonnet alone had 15 touchdowns before a torn knee. Kenneth Walker was Super Bowl MVP and had 1,200 yards for the first time in a long time we had a running back Super Bowl MVP. Shaheed showed some speed with this clutch kick and punt returns. There were very few holes in this team in 2025. But in the offseason, they lost Kenneth Walker, Cody Bryant, and offensive coordinator Cliff Kubiak, who will be coaching the Raiders. The poor, unfortunate souls in pain, in need. The Raiders are longing to win. But honestly, they still look mostly the same. They drafted Jadarian Price from Notre Dame to get some running back insurance because Charbonnet got hurt and Walker's gone. Josh Joby resigned, who allowed a 47 completion percentage against, like I said, they lost a few pieces, but I like this team. They benefit, though, from the 14th hardest schedule. Or the 16th easiest, whatever one it is. At least to me, this is not a bad schedule. The NFC West is also competitive again, though. This is a team that can possibly win 14 games maximum. But if they falter a bit like the Eagles did after their Super Bowl and without an offensive guru leading the charge, I see them winning no less than 11 or 10 games. I think this team is really good. Will they repeat? I don't know. Only 8 teams have repeated as Super Bowl champions in the NFL history. They set the bar very high, though. Now, if I'm ranking these teams from first to last, Seahawks, Rams, and Niners are all going to be jockeying for first place. I think the Rams come out on top. Seahawks, second. 49ers, third. And the Cards, well, they're playing for the next big quarterback in the draft. But do you agree with my list? What would you change? Let me know in the comments. And like always, you just might have been watching Hill Time Sports. Adios, c'est la vie, stay blessed. Boom.